Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the Livestream Rebels with me, Mark Orr, and Daniel Wilkinson.
Hello.
Hi Dan, how are you doing? Are you all right?
I'm doing all right. It's been a busy couple of weeks, isn't it?
It's been a challenging couple of weeks in a lot of respects, but that's a story for another time. But we are still going, we are alive, we are forging forward, and it looks like things are going to get potentially really busy. For this year, for the rest of this year, and into next year as well, if certain things come off. But again, we are unable to talk about that at the moment. So we're not trying to tease you on purpose. We are literally just telling you how it is and what's going on. So, but yeah, it's been busy. There's lots of things bubbling away, lots of quotes going out, lots of conversations being had with people, and more conversations to be had with some people hopefully tomorrow about some projects that we want to kind of do for ourselves as well, which is ultimately one of the areas that we want to do more of, is to showcase us and what we actually do, which I think is probably the easiest way for us to actually market ourselves rather than trying to, constantly put out video content without a purpose, which unfortunately some people do, but we are aiming to avoid that. So, what is today's show about? Well, if you've read the show notes, you'll have seen that we're actually going to be using comments today, something that we haven't done in our show previously. And one of the reasons for that is because we haven't really had people on the live show. And that's probably twofold, that we weren't promoting ourselves well enough and we weren't actually setting things up in advance. Now, those of you who are going to be joining us today will have seen, certainly on the live, would have seen that we actually promoted this in advance. We actually set up events across all our social media platforms, and hopefully that is going to make a difference to how things are going to look and what we're going to do in the future. Now, it was great on the last show to have Tim Lewis with us, who was putting a lot of comments that I could see in the chat, the aggregated chat. And that got me thinking that we weren't actually utilizing that interactivity, that engagement with our audience that perhaps we could do. So I went away and I did some research and I did some digging, and to try and find a way of being able to aggregate the comments from all of the social media platforms into one place, but then would also allow us to show them on screen, but not just the screen that the viewers see, but one that Dan can see as well, because ultimately I do a lot of remote production for other people, and that is an area that we have talked about in the past, is being able to bring comments from the channels that we're going out to, so that the guests and on the actual live stream, as well as the host, can actually see the comments that are coming through and select which ones that they actually want to show on screen. And people would probably say, well, if depending on what platform you're doing, a lot of browser-based platforms will do that for you. And yes, they will, but we're not using a browser-based platform per se. We are using one to help us do the syndication and the multicasting out, which is a platform called restream.io, which is absolutely amazing. Something I used a long time ago, but then didn't really pursue, and it isn't really until we started doing our live show and a couple of other bits and pieces where we've wanted to go out to more than one platform that I've actually looked at this as a solution, and it's working extremely well. But what it didn't allow me to do on my setup, as I say, was show those comments actually on the actual stream itself for where I'm hosting it with my guest, who happens to be Daniel today. So, sorry, I was reading a comment there. We have had a comment come through. So then what I had to do was find a way that would allow Restream to bring the comments in, but then for me to show them in my live streaming software, which is called vMix. That was a bit of a challenge to find something that actually worked. But then I had a bit of a I can't even think of the word today. Yeah, I'm going to struggle with words, it would appear. I was troubled with afterthought. Yes, having problems with the old mouth today. Troubled with afterthought, and thought, I do remember somebody actually talking about a solution that would actually allow us to do this. So hence, last week, I spent quite a bit of time actually researching how to actually integrate the two platforms together, and they do actually work now. So it's hopefully it's going to work effectively and positively. So Dan did a test to see if this would actually work. And it would appear that it's not now going to work for me. So, it's half working. The comments are coming through, but they're not coming through to where I need them. So, do you want to start talking, Dan, while I just try and sort this out? And this is the beauty of live. We talk about this all the time. If something is going to go wrong on a live, it will go wrong. So, you just witter on, as you normally do.
Okay.
And I'll try and fix this.
Yeah. So this show's now about sharks. This is 50 shark facts that might interest you. Fact 1. Mark has never been eaten by a shark. It's a true fact, that. Fact 2, actually. Did you know more people are killed by toasters than sharks a year? That's an interesting fact. Genuinely about sharks as well.
Okay.
More people are probably killed by toasters a year than went to watch The Meg. There's another shark film-related fact. Back to live streaming. We have a special show coming up next time as well, that we're going to film at the next event we go to. I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of FOMO now. So it is the next one, isn't it? Yeah, not next week, the week after. That's correct. So
it's going to be a solo show because I'm actually going to be away. So we're actually going to do some pre-recorded stuff that we're going to introduce into that show, like we have done in the past when I wasn't available. We pre-recorded something. Dan is still going to go live. Show might look a little bit different because obviously he's probably going to use different software to the solution that I use. But yeah, it's looking good from that respect. So we'll get some stuff done at the event that we're at. Sorry,
and we'll be posting some. And we'll probably be posting some behind-the-scenes stuff as well on our social media on DW Media, so go and check us out on there. And make sure you follow our LinkedIns as well, and we'll reshare it and post there as well. So we've got a few things going on like that. It's going to be very similar type of event to one we've done previously. But we've just bought a new nice toy that we want to play with, and we can show you it there. And then in a month or so, we're going to have a nice big show to show you with something that we've been working on from last year, which is a vehicle thing. And we'll tell you about that close. But some people might know, some people might have seen it, some people might know roughly what we're going to talk about. But those of you who don't know, that's going to be a very exciting show as well. So there's going to be a very different feel this year for stuff. And hopefully we've got quite a big year going ahead and a very different way of doing things for us as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's going to hopefully give us the opportunity to showcase a lot more of kind of how we're putting stuff together, sort of behind the scenes stuff that we've tried to show since we started this actual live stream show. But we're probably going to get the opportunity to do a lot more of that as we move forward. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to a prosperous year, a very busy year by all accounts. But yeah, if everything comes off. So yeah, fingers crossed it all does. You had a few audio issues as you were chatting there, Dan. I'm not quite sure if everything's okay at your end, but you didn't quite disappear, but you were cutting out a bit and it was going a bit off. So I'm not sure if you've got a dodgy cable or we'll see how we get on anyway. But as you probably saw, well, it only happened for a little while, but it was just as you were talking. Okay. So we'll monitor it. We'll keep an eye on it. Again, just, it's live. Things are sent to trip you up, and usually they do. You would have noticed when you were talking that I did manage to get this working. It had updated. I was just on the wrong tab in my browser. So I just had to swap tabs and everything was hunky-dory.
So I went and talked about shark facts for no reason.
Yeah, pretty much. But a lot of what you talk about is for no reason, isn't it? Touche. That's getting you back for a conversation that we had before we went on air. We have Pascal Fintoni has joined us today on, I think he's on LinkedIn when I looked before. Yes, he's on LinkedIn. It would be so helpful if LinkedIn would create a tab or search function to help us find our favorite live shows. Oh, his favorite live show. Oh, such an accolade. Yes, I work quite a lot with Pascal within a different business scenario. So, and I've known Pascal for years, actually, since I first started in business, in my production business, which was 2015, 16, around that kind of time anyway. And the iterations of my business and then the connection with you. So yeah, Pascal and I have, and we, as I say, we now work together in a different business. So it's all looking good. So I'm a little bit dismayed that Tim hasn't managed to join us. I did invite Tim, but it just depends on what he's actually got going on. So,
well, that's his invitation onto the show revoked.
Well, I'll speak to him in a couple of weeks' time because I'm going to be seeing him in person in Edinburgh. So I'll have a chat with him then, and we'll see when we're going to get him on and what we're going to talk about. So, yeah, it should be all good. So
I've just tried something, Mark. So I've just replied to Pascal's comment. So will that show up on the live or not?
Where did you respond? Oh, on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I'm just throwing a curveball before you actually explain what's going on here. Don't worry.
No, actually, it hasn't. It hasn't because did you do it as a reply or within the actual comment section? How did you actually reply to him?
I don't know. And that's not me being I genuinely don't know because I'm on LinkedIn on my iPad. So if I click on the live, I can only view us and I can't actually comment on it, but I can comment in the comment section. But I think that might just be for the event. But Pascal's comment is definitely there.
Yeah, so you would have to put it in the comments section.
Right.
The chat, the live chat.
Yeah, which I don't have on this version, so I need to go on my desktop to do it.
But again, this is a great opportunity for us to kind of test exactly how these things work. One of the biggest bugbears for me was obviously you are syndicating everybody's chat into one place. And the platforms themselves will only allow you to have access in certain ways. So everything's coming into one place, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can then respond to everybody from one place. So if you want to put a link in or if you wanted to respond to somebody's comment, you can't necessarily do that on all of the channels, on all of the platforms, should I say. So YouTube will allow you to send replies. LinkedIn won't. Facebook on a public page will. On a group, it won't. And on a personal profile, it won't. And X, Twitter, which we are going live to Twitter today on one of my Twitter channels, will only allow you to go one way, which is see the comments coming in, but you can't respond to the comments through the chat system. So this is one of the downsides of it. But I think more importantly, it's about bringing the comments in and aggregating them from all of the channels that people are actually on, which is ultimately what I'm tasking Dan with to do now, so that we can actually see the comments coming through and but showcase pretty much that it does actually work. And it pulls in the information from the actual commenters connection within the channel. So for instance, if it's on Facebook, it'll bring the fact that they're on Facebook, it'll tell us and it'll highlight it and showcase that they're on Facebook, and it'll bring their avatar through. So whatever avatar they've got. within that platform will actually be pulled through as well, which some of them don't. Now, if you try and do this within Facebook groups, you need to give special permission to Restream's app to be able to come through and show the avatar and the person's name, because that's just the way that Facebook groups have got the privacy settings set up, which means that it won't pull all of the information through. So you've got to be mindful of that if you ever want to stream directly to a Facebook group, which is something that we haven't done actually. We could do, but it has to be a group that you're an admin of, otherwise it won't work. But at least I think, that should be the case just from a privacy perspective. So, so Dan has managed to get some comments coming through. So he's obviously been on to Twitter / X and managed to pull through one of those comments.
Twitter.
I will pull through, Twitter. Yeah, it's still Twitter in my eyes as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get the hang of calling it X. I've got to be honest with you. But so with X we've got pulled through, and we've also got a comment on YouTube. Now, is that on my YouTube or your YouTube?
Oh, that's my YouTube. I didn't know you were going live to yours. So
yes, I'm on mine as well. So I'm not sure what avatar that'll bring through. It should bring your avatar through, but you're just commenting on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you'd think.
The live event. Yeah, I'm sure when I've tested it, that's exactly what it does. But so I'm assuming that Pascal has literally just dipped in and dipped out again. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to have a conversation with him, unfortunately. He's probably too busy. I'm just going to grab a drink. So you're probably wondering what this piece of software is that I've actually managed to get working that pulls these chat comments through from Restream. Because Restream will allow you to pull the whole of the chat through. Are you hearing a beep every now and again, or is it just me?
I can't.
It must be what, because I had it set up so that it beeps whenever there's a chat message comes through. But I just wasn't sure if you could hear that on the stream, but obviously you can't. So I don't think I've got the system audio connected to it. So
I'm just testing something as well. So I've sent through another comment on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, with emoji. Yes. See if emoji can be picked up.
It will be.
I'm assuming it can.
I'm going to do it now, so you'll find out. So the shark emojis, shark emojis.
Because it's all about sharks.
Indeed it is. That's where we started, and that's where we'll probably finish. And then your other comment, shark related as well. Did you know most sharks have good eyesight? I didn't know that.
You didn't.
Does most have to be capitalized?
Well, I copied and pasted it from Google, and I added the "Did you know" part. So,
okay, that's why.
Yeah.
So that was the first line of that particular one. So, what channel was that you put that through?
That was yours, your YouTube.
Yeah, so it pulls your avatar through, so it's on my YouTube channel. Yeah, it'll be interesting because obviously we can look at the analytics after the actual show and find out who's commented and which platforms. Sorry,
right.
Not who, but which platforms have been commented on and how many times. So it's quite interesting to be able to pull in that kind of granular detail, which is really good. And it does store it. It gives you quite a bit of analytical data actually after your stream's finished within Restream, which is pretty good, insightful, so that you know exactly what's been going on, even down to the technical stuff like the bit rates that you've been streaming to, which is handy for analyzing any issues it might have had during an actual stream if you've had any problems flagged up, etc. So it all seems to be working pretty seamlessly. So I started talking about what the actual way of doing this, or should I say, before Daniel interrupted me with these little shark tests there.
Sorry.
And I've just seen the latest one, that Restream will allow you to embed the full chat So, you've probably seen chats on Twitch if you've ever looked at a gaming stream, and they have everything. Now, for me, that is a little bit dangerous, or could be dangerous, depending on who's actually interacting with your live stream, because you can filter some of the stuff out if somebody puts something that is a little bit naughty, shall we say. You can put keywords in and it will filter profanity out. But do you necessarily want to show all of the actual chat? And from a digital real estate perspective, you're going to have to shuffle things around. So this particular shot of us, this 2-shot, means that the chat would be overlaying one of us, which isn't ideal. So ultimately, what you have to do is use this additional third-party solution that then brings the chat into it from Restream's chat system, brings it in, but then allows you to select the individual chat message, the comment, and then send it through to my live streaming switching software. And I've got it set up so that it automatically appears, and then automatically when I select it to highlight it and show it on air. But then I've got it set so that it automatically disappears after 10 seconds. So just to kind of show you that. So I'm going to click on the actual button now and just show Daniel's latest offering about sharks, which is I love live stream. I love live stream shows and sharks from Haribo 2999, better known as Daniel Wilkinson.
You don't know that for sure.
I do know that because you told me yesterday. You admitted to it yesterday. Because you commented on somebody else's live show yesterday with that.
I did.
It all came about. So, yeah. So I get the Haribo bit, but obviously the numbers, have they got any significance, or is it just because you are a sweet fiend, aren't you? You're like
you don't know. You don't know what 2999 means.
Nope.
29th of May, 1999.
Okay.
It's when I was born, Mark.
Yes, well, you've just committed the cardinal sin there. If anybody is trying to hack your birth date for online scamming, then you've just admitted.
It's on Facebook.
Whatever. No, I didn't know when your birthday was, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I suppose I should do.
Well,
so that
yeah,
only so that I can ignore it.
I wished you a happy birthday.
I'm sure I wished
on your
you
birthday, not just randomly.
I'm sure I wished
you have in the past.
Yeah,
you have in the past.
So there you go. Right, so what we're talking about is overlays.
Yes, overlays.
Yes,
birthdays.
So I'm just going to actually show you how this works. So first of all, we'll click across into the actual restream. Good job somebody hasn't put something that we don't want to see. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see. So this is Restream's actual chat function. So you can see it's pulling in names, platforms, the avatar of the person, the commenter on the actual platform that they're on. This is customizable. You can change it, and I could, if I wanted to, could actually block somebody from being able to continue. That's a good point. Yes, sorry. I had switched on one side because I forgot I've changed a lot of the switching to automatically switch across. So yeah, I'll start that again.
Yep.
So this is Restream.io's chat system, and it's a separate system to their actual main user interface. So you have to log into this separately, and I've logged into this on a different browser. So this is literally in the browser. So as I said, you can see the commenter's avatar across on the left there, the channel that they've commented from, and then obviously the comment. And as I say, you have the option to do certain things depending on which platform they've actually made the comment from. So you can reply to them through Restream, And this is what I was talking about earlier. Some platforms will allow you to do replies, some won't, just because of the way that the API is set up for communication. I could block them. I could put them on a timeout, and then I can add them to an actual restream chat block. So you can do a block on YouTube, or you can do a block within the chat system. So if they did start to get a little bit disgruntled or started to put comments in that you don't want to continue seeing, then you have got the function there to do something about it. If I look at the one that Pascal put through before, you'll see I have only got the option to add to the restream chat block, and that is because of that API communication only being one way, so it'll only bring stuff in, it won't send stuff out. Again, you'll have the same with Twitter/X. And then I think we haven't got any comment from Facebook on there, so I can't show you what the options there are at the moment. So that's Restream's main chat window. But then what I have done is I've taken some additional third-party, I say it's software, but it's actually a browser extension from a company called Social Stream Ninja, or Video Ninja, VDO Ninja, who made some amazing software. And you upload that as an actual browser extension, and it allows you to then bring the actual comments through to their system. So it does it automatically as long as you're open on the same browser window. So you'll see this is where they've actually brought them through. So Dan's latest comment there, which he's just put through on Facebook to do the test, so that we can see what options it allows us. So we can block the user on Facebook. So again, blocking them on the actual chat within the platform that they've made the comment to, or we can block them within Restream Chat's actual chat facility as well. But moving back across to Social Stream Ninja, you can see here that this has brought all the comments through. And as soon as I click on the comment, so the last comment that's come through is not highlighted in green, which means it hasn't actually been selected or chosen to come through. So as soon as I select it, it will actually then appear on the actual stream within vMix, and then obviously on the live to go out, and it'll disappear after 10 seconds, which is what I've got it set to. And then you can see that it's highlighted green. So it's good in the fact that it gives me an alert to say which ones I've shown. I can highlight them again. So if I go back to Dan's first one, you've got complete option to show it as many times as you want, and it will still disappear after 10 seconds automatically, again, because that's the way I've got it set up. But what you can also do as well, for instance, and this is something that Dan and I will need to test separately to this live stream, is you can set up a queue. So for instance, if I had somebody else, or Dan, or even myself, if Dan was talking, we could actually set a queue up. So I could click, if I press Control on my keyboard and click, you'll see it actually goes purple. And you probably can't see because it's too... Yeah, you can see it if I zoom in a bit more. There's some options down the bottom here, and this purple option is now the queue. And as soon as I click that, it would start to run through the queue and show them. So what I'll do is I'll zoom back out a bit, and I've selected that one. I'll select this one and select this one. So I've now got 3 things in the queue. So as soon as I press the actual queue button, it brings the first one up. And how I've actually clicked the order in which I've clicked them will be how they actually appear. And then when I click the next one, it'll bring the next comment up that I put in the queue. That'll disappear again after 10 seconds. And then I'll click the queue again. And then the last comment that I selected comes up. So it's quite good in that respect. If you were going through a series of questions and you wanted somebody to go in and kind of monitor the questions, and they can just select them. and have them actually queued up, and they could literally just press the button and the comment can come through, which makes it a bit more interactive and quite powerful in that respect, that you can automate a little bit of this as well. Now, what I did notice the other day when I was playing around, because this particular browser extension has so many options in it, there are so many things that you can do. You can even have it created like a chat bot where it'll automatically send responses to people. Again, that will only work on the platforms that will allow replies. But you could set up certain things to automate a chatbot response to somebody. Forgotten what I was going to say now. I was heading in a direction with something there. But yeah, you could have somebody literally go in and just kind of monitor all the. Yeah, I know what I was going to say now. So because of all the different options that are in the actual browser extension, which hopefully I might be able to show you. I did notice the other day when I was testing this, it actually came up with the numbers within the user interface here to tell you which ones were actually in the queue and what number they were in the queue, so that you knew if you wanted to take one out, etc., you could get rid of it, which again is dead easy to do. You can also set up, I've got it set up when a chat comes through that it beeps on my headphones, so I know that there's a chat come through, and that's within the browser extension plugin again. But you can also do it text to speech. So if you wanted it to actually speak, now I don't know if I would use that function. Again, I might have to test it and see if it actually comes it, or if I can get it to come through into the actual live stream, which I should be able to do, just by routing the audio a little bit differently to how I've got it. So we might have to test that in the future, but I'm not quite sure that I would want to necessarily have text-to-speech coming through, because it could interrupt us in mid-flow if we're talking about something when a chat comes through. You can also set it up so that as soon as the chat message is actually comes through into the system, that it automatically shows within your stream. But again, you don't necessarily always want every comment to come through. So I decided to not bother with that particular feature. But very, very powerful what you can actually do with it. So I'll actually bring the settings up, and I'll see if I can zoom in so you can see it, whether it's going to work or not. I don't know. No, it's not going to work. So you can't actually see too well, because I can't zoom in onto that particular bit of it. I could within... Actually, I probably can, if you bear with me. Is this all making sense so far, Dan? Is it?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can't find what I'm after. There we are. So I should actually be able to zoom in a little bit on the actual screen itself. No, that's not going to work. That's not what I wanted. That's the main one. I wanted the desktop gesture. Yeah, so there we go. No, that's not going to work either. Yeah.
Get your binoculars out, everyone. That'll do.
Pass on that. It's not going to work. And I've now moved it to where I don't want it. So I'm going to have to resize everything. Damn it. There we go.
Fact 39 about sharks.
Yeah. So this is what they call the dock. So these are all the settings that will determine what happens in the user interface here. So you've got all sorts of stuff, and it's not worth me going through because you won't be able to see anything, because I just can't zoom in on it, unfortunately. But there's a lot of things that you can change, a lot of things you can do. And then the actual featured chat overlay bit is actually, if I show you on here, it's actually a separate browser window. I don't have to have that open if I don't want to. But again, you've got loads of functionality that you can change the appearance. I've actually gone in and changed some of the appearance so that the branding matches a little bit with what we've got. So the names are actually the same font color, the sort of pinky orange color that we've got. You can ask the system not to bring the avatars through. You can ask it not to bring in the platform that the comment's been made on. But again, why would you want it to bring as much info through as you possibly want? So, but very customizable. As I said, there's a lot you can do with it, and I think it's a really good solution to something that we wanted to be able to do, and I want to be able to do for a lot of my clients moving forward, so that we can actually make the live streams a little bit more engaging and interactive. So that was ultimately kind of what we wanted to showcase today, was just that there are solutions out there when you dig for them. And that this particular browser extension solution is completely free of charge, as is Video Ninja, which is a good way to be able to do some live streaming, peer-to-peer live streaming. So you're not actually using a system that is cloud-based. It's browser-based, but it's not actually running in the cloud as such, so that you're not reliant on other people's systems. But it's a very good system. A guy called Steve Seguin, excuse me, is the guy who created it and has kept it completely open to everybody to use. Don't know how he makes his money, got to be honest. He's a developer who develops an awful lot of software, but just gives it away. So I really need to kind of find out how he does actually survive. An American guy, but really nice bloke. So, any questions on any of that, Dan? Anything, any little foibles, anything that you've seen, anything that you want to know about, how it could benefit? Or
so I don't know if you know the answer to this now, but I'm one for asking questions that boggle the mind, or questions about sharks. If you were going to block someone on the actual system, and you block them internally within Restream, am I right with that?
Yeah.
Would that block, is it a block on the IP address? Is it a block on that person's name? Is it a block on just them from that platform? Do you know any more about how that works? Or is it just sort of...
I don't, to be honest with you. That's something I probably need to look at. I mean, what we could do as a test now is we could go in and we could actually we could try it and see what happens within Restream and also within the platform. So,
and another thing I've just another thing I've just tried there as well is with the Haribo channel before, because you can block that channel. Is I've tried with a very long message to see if that would fit in.
Yeah, it does. I can never say this word, concatenates, or so yeah. If I bring that last one that you've brought in, there is also a function within Social Stream Ninja to reduce the font size if the message is really big. So you've got a couple of options there. But yeah, it's brought everything in that you've put in that particular one on the Haribo channel.
Amazing.
It obviously just it makes the comment box a little bit bigger, but you could, as I say, change the setting and just make the font a little bit smaller once it goes over a certain amount of characters. I don't think it allows you to choose how many characters. It'll just decide once it's gone above, and it'll reduce the font size just to accommodate. You can also change within the settings. You can change things like the size of the avatar, the font sizes on a lot of the stuff as well. So there's
cool.
Highly customizable, as I said. Now, within Restream, so if I choose to block you within Restream, the chances are, and this is what I'm suspecting, that it'll just not bring the comment through from the channel, but it would still appear on the channel, if you know what I mean.
Yep, let's try that then.
Yeah, so all it's done is it's taken you out of Restream's chat. So it'll allow you to put something on
the
that's
channel.
Exactly
what it's done.
Yeah. But you could actually block them from putting anything on the actual channel.
Yeah.
And not just within Restream. So it's removed you from Restream.
Can you block me as in Daniel Wilkinson then? Do you know how to unblock people?
I don't. I don't, if I'm honest.
I'm just thinking if you block me, then I can't get back. I can't ever get back.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, the chances are we wouldn't be testing it from that channel again in the future, would we? So
No, no, definitely not. So, yeah, and then is there a maximum of the amount of social channels you can connect to this system, or is it just as many as you want? Is it?
with Restream, it will limit the, well, obviously they've got tiered pricing. So the pricing level that I'm currently using allows me to connect 5 channels. But what is really good about Restream is that, and again, this blew me away when I first looked at this. They introduced something, or a year, I think it was last year sometime, called pairs. So if you were doing a guest, or if you were doing a guest presentation, so you had a guest coming onto your live show, what you can do is within Restream, you can actually set up a link that you give to them. They can then take that link, put it in their browser. It will open up Restream as a free account and allow them to add 3 of their channels completely free of charge. So that as soon as I go live within my Restream account, it goes live on their Restream account that they've set up. And it doesn't take long to set up. They've added their channels and it syndicates it across all of and it brings the chat in as well. So
Yeah.
Currently I have 5 channels set up on mine. And then we've got 1 channel set up on your account, which is a paired account. So if somebody was to make a comment, and I think it's your LinkedIn that we're using on your account, somebody made a comment on your LinkedIn channel, it'll bring it through the system. So that means that obviously it means nobody's missing out on actually being involved in the show and being able to comment on the show. So for instance, that when we did our show with Ian Anderson Gray, he's obviously got a higher tier than we've got within Restream, and he could add a lot more channels. So again, if a guest already has a Restream account, they can add 5 of their channels to our 5. Right. But a free user who just gets sent the pairs link can only set up 3. But again, the fact that it syndicates all the chat from all of the channels as well is really good. Because in the past, when I've used, and again, not wanting to get too technical about this, but when you use an RTMP stream, that's not an API call. So it can only bring, or it can only send out, should I say, the actual live stream feed. So the video and audio feed, it can't connect to any kind of chat or comment platform. So you couldn't bring any comments in. So you have to use the API. Unfortunately, Restream have actually got that nailed compared to some of the other solutions out there. Yeah. vMix, which is ultimately what we use to drive the show, excuse me, that has its own system built within it, but it will only allow you to connect to Facebook and YouTube. For some reason, they haven't been able to get the API. I don't understand why not. Maybe it's something they might do in the future, because I think they're missing out in a big way. Not being able to connect to the other channels, which allow you to bring the comments in. And you have a lot more control over how the comments appear when you use vMix's own system. Excuse me. But it's just a little bit limiting, ultimately, for doing mega multicasting. But that might change in the future. However, after saying that, and this is something that I think we'll probably look at in a future show, is vMix have just introduced, and I know that there are some other platforms about to do it as well, introduced Zoom as a direct integration, so that we could actually do our live show, but bring somebody else in through Zoom, and we could have a conversation with them. But we could also bring the chat in from Zoom. So if they had other people watching on Zoom, we could select them as a speaker, but they could have other people commenting, and we could pull the comments through, which is quite interesting. But again, something we perhaps need to do some research and do a little bit of testing with. But that could open up some doors for some people for how they want to do live streaming in the future.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or?
No, that's me all questioned out.
Good stuff. All shocked out now, are you?
All shocked out. Some would say I'm finished.
Oh, God. It doesn't get any better, does it? Doesn't get any better. So, never mind. Testing. Exactly. Testing. Is there anybody there? Absolutely not. Yeah.
So mean to
Well, I think that's pretty much it for this week's show. Hopefully it's been insightful. Not quite sure that I've explained it effectively enough, but if you've got any questions, that would lead us nicely on to being able to answer those questions in a future show. So if this is something that you've thought about doing, or excuse me, you've wondered how you could do it. So just to add some additional context, we could actually run our show. I think I did mention this earlier on. But we could actually run our show directly through Restream. So I could take my vMix feed and just put it into Restream, and I could show all the comments, excuse me, from Restream chat as a chat overlay, but Dan wouldn't be able to see them. So that's why we've done it this particular way around.
Yeah.
So it's been able to pull those comments from Restream's aggregated chat function and show them individually on the actual screen as an overlay, rather than just the comment overlay, rather than a chat overlay. I think is probably the best way. A comment is a singular comment, whereas the chat is everything that's actually going on the actual whole lot. So Pascal may well still be with us. He's put a comment on. So
yes,
thank you very much. I appreciate you guys doing the research and testing. Well, thanks for being part of it, Pascal. If you've got any further, there's the teeth again. If you've got any further questions about it, we'd love to sort of dive into anything that anybody wants to know. I think for me, I love this stuff. I love kind of trying to find solutions. I think this is one of the things that Dan and I have found working together, is that we like to solve problems, and we're quite good at solving problems. So I'm not saying we can solve every single problem. When it comes to video production and live streaming, we can solve most of them, but there's probably things are constantly evolving. So I'm currently doing some research at the moment about ingesting SRT streams into a mobile setup, and that is causing me a big headache. So if anybody's got any insights into that, then please get in touch, put them in the comments. So I think we'll cut it there for the day. We've gone on a little bit longer than I anticipated, but hopefully it's been insightful for some people. Nice to see anybody that has turned up. If you're watching the replay again, you can still get involved by putting additional comments into the platforms. And if you've got any questions regarding what we've covered today, or any of the other stuff we've covered in any live stream, or any live streaming questions, any video production questions, then please feel free. Pop them in. We'll certainly reply, and we can look at doing a future show if it's something that we think needs to be delved into a little bit more. So I will not, but Dan should see you in a fortnight's time.
Exactly.
With an exciting show, behind the scenes show. It will be of an event that we've got coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. So
yeah.
Take care, everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.
Absolutely. Stream you later.